The Renaissance Poets, An Introduction, Volume 2. For our Renaissance poets, we start with the coming to the throne of Henry VIII in 1519. From then until its end, with the crumbling of the English Republic under Cromwell in 1659, these poets capture a time when the world as they knew it underwent tumultuous change. Within their ranks were Spenser, Donne, Milton, Shakespeare, Sidney, Jonson, Marvell, Drayton. It is a list rich and sumptuous, long and gloried. In these volumes we bring all these poets and others together to illustrate this poetical canon.
Sonnet by Richard Lovelace. When I by thy fair shape did swear, and mingled with each vow a tear, I loved thee best, I swore as I professed. For all the while you lasted warm and pure, my oaths too did endure. But once turned faithless to thyself and old, they then with thee incessantly grew cold. I swore myself thy sacrifice, by the ebon boughs that guard thine eyes, which now are altered white, and by the glorious light of both those stars, which of their spheres bereft, only the jellies left. Then change thus, no more I'm bound to you, than swearing to a saint that proves untrue.
Against Love by Katherine Phillips. Hence, Cupid, with your cheating toys, your real griefs and painted joys, your pleasure which itself destroys. Lovers like men in fevers burn and rave, and only what will injure them do crave. Men's weakness makes love so severe, they give him power by their fear, and make the shackles which they wear. Who to another does his heart submit, makes his own idol, and then worships it. Him whose heart is all his own, peace and liberty does crown, he apprehends no killing frown. He feels no raptures which are joys diseased, and is not much transported, but still pleased.
Faith by George Herbert. Lord, how couldst thou so much appease thy wrath for sin, as when man's sight was dim, and could see little to regard his ease, and bring by faith all things to him? Hungry I was, and had no meat. I did conceit a most delicious feast. I had it straight, and did as truly eat as ever did a welcome guest. There is a rare outlandish root, which when I could not get, I thought it here. That apprehension cured so well my foot, that I can walk to heaven well near. I owed thousands and much more. I did believe that I did nothing owe, and lived accordingly. My creditor believes so too, and lets me go. Faith makes me anything, or all that I believe is in the sacred story. And where sin placeth me in Adam's fall, faith sets me higher in his glory. If I go lower in the book, what can be lower than the common manger? Faith puts me there with him, who sweetly took our flesh and frailty, death and danger. If bliss had lien in art or strength, none but the wise or strong had gained it. Where now, by faith, all arms are of a length, one size doth all conditions fit. A peasant may believe as much as a great clerk, and reach the highest stature. Thus dost thou make proud knowledge bend and crouch, while grace fills up uneven nature. When creatures had no real light inherent in them, thou didst make the sun impute a lustre, and allow them bright, and in this show what Christ hath done. That which before was darkened clean with bushy groves, pricking the looker's eye, vanished away when faith did change the scene, and then appeared a glorious sky. What though my body run to dust, faith cleaves unto it, counting every grain with an exact and most particular trust, reserving all for flesh again.
Praise and Prayer by William Davenant. Praise is devotion fit for mighty minds, the differing worlds agreeing sacrifice, where heaven divided faiths united finds, but prayer in various discord upward flies. For prayer the ocean is where diversely men steer their course, each to a several coast. where all our interests so discordant be, that half beg wins by which the rest are lost. By penitence, when we ourselves forsake, 'tis but in wise design on piteous heaven. In praise we nobly give what God may take, and are without a beggar's flush forgiven.
A Dialogue Between the Soul and Body by Andrew Marvell. Soul. Oh, who shall from this dungeon raise a soul enslaved so many ways, with bolts of bones that fettered stands in feet and manacled in hands, here blinded with an eye and there deaf with the drumming of an ear, a soul hung up as 'twere in chains of nerves and arteries and veins, tortured besides each other part in a vain head and double heart. Body. Oh, who shall me deliver whole from bonds of this tyrannic soul, which stretched upright impales me so that mine own precipice I go, and warms and moves this needless frame? A fever could but do the same, and wanting where its spite to try, has made me live to let me die, a body that could never rest, since this ill spirit it possessed. Soul. What magic could me thus confine within another's grief to pine, where whatsoever it complain, I feel that cannot feel the pain? And all my care itself employs, that to preserve which me destroys. Constrained not only to endure diseases, but what's worse, the cure, and ready off the port to gain, am shipwracked into health again. Body. But physic yet could never reach the maladies thou me dost teach, whom first the cramp of hope does tear, and then the palsy shakes of fear. The pestilence of love does heat, or hatred's hidden ulcer eat. Joy's cheerful madness does perplex, or sorrow's other madness vex. Which knowledge forces me to know, and memory will not forego. What but a soul could have the wit to build me up for sin so fit? So architects do square and hew green trees that in the forest grew.
How by a kiss he found both his life and death, by Sir Thomas Wyatt. Nature, that gave the bee so feat a grace to find honey of so wondrous fashion, hath taught the spider out of the same place to fetch poison by strange alteration. Though this be strange, it is a stranger case, with one kiss by secret operation, both these at once in those your lips to find, in change whereof I leave my heart behind.